Well, I'm sure if I had to, get battery acid off myself, I could pour this pop on it and it would take care of it.
So, I wanted to bring up something on this. I watched Chicago's tape last week against Denver, and man, they were eating that offensive line, especially the tackles, alive. Um, they only got
You
the
mean
Flacco one to
Chicago's Chicago's defense was eating the Broncos' offensive line up?
yeah, that. My bad. Man, I'm telling you, my mind's weird. Anyways, I'm pretty sure it's pretty bad cave. That thing I haven't had a drop of alcohol tonight, Jay. But they only had one sack I think registered for that game, and I think we're going to have at least 3 or 4 sacks this week. I really do. I think the Smiths.
Dude, I don't think. I think this is the week where honestly the Packers open it up and maybe hit 28 plus points. And I still don't think they're giving up more than. I don't think I don't see them giving up more than 24 points. If that's the max. And I still think they're going to be under the max, but I'm still going to keep saying that I don't see the Broncos getting to more than 24 points, but I do see.
Not even 24. I don't see them getting past 10.
I'm just saying. I'm saying. Look, you understand why I keep saying 24, right? I'm saying it for a reason because I'm going to beat the horse because 17 was the old standard for excellent. 24 is that now. They're averaging 9.5. So what the hell do you call these? Give them their props. I don't care who they played. Their offense did them no favors in the last game. They got very close to hitting that 30-minute, mark I always talk about with defenses. And about that time, they came up with a key turnover that took points off the board and completely shifted the momentum of that game. Like, give them their damn props. Like, stop it. These people out there are hating. Like, this top 10 that somebody came out with, like, dude, I'm going to say it again. Cowboys ain't done shit. I don't care how great they've looked. They better look great and beat up on 2 of the worst goddamn teams in the whole damn league that nobody thought was going to win 6 games this year. Like, stop it already. Of course Kansas City's going to look great. They played 2 terrible teams. And Nick Foles went out. He was their glimmer and hope. And now really, honestly, people, stop it. The Jaguars have been good 3 years out of their entire existence. Other than that, they've been average or crap. Like, stop. Like, Kansas City's loaded. Their quarterback's awesome. He's my freaking fantasy quarterback. He's keeping me in the running even though I lost last week. But still, I expect this. This is like when Aaron Rodgers was like, everybody agreed he was great even if they wanted to hate on him. Like, they never gave him credit for beating these teams. Now we want to give all these teams credit for beating these crappy teams. And we're going to rank them higher. Like, dude, it's not to be a homer, but there are teams ranked way below some of these other. And New England, honestly, why the hell are they getting so much credit for a team that is got everybody on sale? They aren't trying to win. You should shut them out and beat their ass. Like, stop it. Like, people, be real about what's going on the field and stop getting into your stupid notepads and your statistics and your biased opinions and judge football for football. Take football teams beating football teams and expectations for each week and stop getting into this stat-pushing bullcrap narrative. I want this team to be like, it all will figure itself out. And the last time I checked, y'all, nobody gives a crap about who's good the first 4 weeks of the season. It's most of these people's preseason. So with all these power rankings and, look at how good paid Dak Prescott $50 million because he did this and had a perfect passer rating. Like, stop it, guys. That's not real football analysis. You don't really believe that in your heart. It's like, just get over it. Stop. Like, there's plenty of stuff to talk about without making this crap up. Like, really. I'm sorry, rabbit hole.
So, a news thing just came across my screen. Apparently, Drew Brees did not have the hand surgery yet. He was fighting it to see if he could get any other solution done. I don't know how you can do that when you tear your ligament completely off your wrist joint. I mean, I'm kind of confused by that, but still, he is having it tomorrow, and it keeps looking longer and longer that he will be out. It went from 6 to 10, now 8 to 10. Now it looks like definite 10 at least weeks for the Saints. And Sean Payton in his press conference apparently said that they still have Super Bowl aspirations with Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater running a 2-quarterback system. Yeah, Sean, I understand you're a good coach, but that ain't going to happen.
Damn it. I wish I had a Mike McCarthy drop from 2017, I believe it was.
Oh,
We don't
he's a
need
damn
to
good
sign
coach.
any damn
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I've had these two in camp. Da, da, da. One got cut, and the other one played terrible the entire season. Like, what is a coach supposed to say? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know why Breeze didn't have the surgery already. If you're trying to aim for that high still, you should be rushing your QB. I don't care what he's saying. Rushing him to the room for surgery on the operating table saying, get this guy fixed. I mean, I just don't know why he wouldn't want to get his thumb fixed right after he had a problem with it.
Can I suggest something? And I know it's going to rub some people the wrong way, but it goes back to something when I was listening to a favorite radio program that I like to listen to, and a certain writer came on there. I believe his name was Charles Johnson, and he was talking about covering the Saints. And they were particularly had him on because at that time there was a lot of hate articles. And I think the Tyler Dunn piece had come out about that time too. And he was talking about how when he worked in the Saints and he's worked in the Colts building, and he was talking about, he kind of laughed off the notion that, this was a big deal about Rodgers' attitude and his perception of being superior and mistreating people. And he had, I guess had talked to him and done interviews with him. And he kind of laughed it off, and his basic sentiment was like, out of the guys he wasn't like any better, but he definitely wasn't the worst I've ever been around. And he got into some stories. He started off with a story about Drew Brees. Do you remember his former Texas Longhorns quarterback that was drafted by the Saints in the second round? I believe his last name was Gilbert or something like that.
That was... Off the top of my head, I have to look it up.
Well, while I'm talking, you can look it up. Anyway, this guy's story went on to talk about how Drew, he's pretty talented kid. He had and I remember watching him in college. He was a pretty talented kid. He was talented enough to get drafted in the second round by Sean Payton in their brass, so they saw something in it. And he basically said that, in a long story short, Drew Brees mistreated and went out of his way to demean this kid every chance he could, that he literally, that this guy was talking about, he literally watched him mentally crumble to the point where he's out of the league. He just couldn't, and he literally said it was Drew just constantly dogging him every time he made a mistake, wrong answer in the meeting. Like, Drew was just, like, wouldn't help him. I mean, now, is that, like, we hear all these stories about great guys. That seems like somebody that's kind of a grade A asshole to me, if you ask me. Like, you're part of a team. That backup quarterback could be viable to you just in relaying information in a critical moment to you. I don't know. That seems pretty selfish. He also talked about Peyton Manning, about nobody in the Colts Indianapolis building. Nobody. It didn't matter who they were. If they tried to have a football conversation, Peyton Manning made sure he went out of his way to over-demean them as far as their football intelligence, to make sure when they walked away, the conversation was over. They knew that Peyton was the man and nobody knew more football than him. Again, I love Peyton. I think he's a funny guy. But when it comes to football, and when we're talking about football, it's kind of a grade A asshole thing to be acting like when you're in a building, especially around personnel that's really not players or coaches. And he did that to everybody. They tried to ask him about football. He was a jerk to him about it. So, it just is what it is. Drew not getting the surgery, to me, seems like just another one of these things that they're going to sweep it under the rug. It's a selfish thing, like you just said. Why aren't you getting it? You're slowing the timetable, and if you really are worrying about the team and what's best for the team, you go get the surgery. If you're worried about something about how long your career may or may not be, depending on this or that, and you're trying to get, that's a selfish way of looking at it. And so I guess in my ways, from the way I look at Drew Brees and my own opinion of him, it doesn't surprise me at all, quite honestly. And I know that's not going to be a popular thing because people love Drew Brees. But I'm not going to get into it now, but I've seen plenty of examples with my own eyes and the way the guy treats his own family out there. That doesn't impress me as somebody that has sons and daughters too. So, just in my own opinion. So, yeah, this doesn't surprise me that he's jacking around and trying to figure out what's best for Drew, because what he's doing is not best for the Saints. He's prolonging his inevitability if he has to have surgery. It's now making this into 10, 11 weeks. It just, doesn't surprise me. I think Drew Brees is a pretty selfish guy that has been pegged one of the good guys, quote unquote, and that's the way he's been pushed by the league. And I think from enough of my information and stories I've heard and things I've seen with my own eyes, I think that's probably one of the farthest things from the truth. I think he's a very selfish guy that looks out for Drew number one, and then it's team and everybody else number two.
Yeah, I've heard similar stories as well. I was looking up that QB. Is it Garrett Grayson?
Yes, that's him. Sorry,
he was out of Colorado State. Yeah,
second round pick.
Yeah, he was. He was at a third round pick. He was out of Colorado State.
That would be the guy. Sorry, the name and everything escaped me because it's been a while and all that stuff at college and da-da-da-da. But, yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. The G was all I could remember. Gilbert, Gary, that stuck in my head.
Okay, so do you think that with Sean Payton running a two-quarterback system, do you think he can do it?
Actually, I think that, honestly, we saw Teddy Bridgewater as Packer fans. I think Teddy's biggest problem was his arm strength. And I think if his arm has gotten stronger, I think he was a highly intelligent quarterback. I think he was an efficient quarterback. And I also didn't feel like Teddy tried to play outside of himself. I thought Teddy's demeanor on the football field as a quarterback was very Tom Brady-esque. Meaning that I didn't see him try to make big throws that he knew damn well he had no business making. And
he took the smart play.
Right. And so I think his biggest problem is that teams eventually knew he was limited because of his arm strength. So if his arm has gotten stronger, I don't think, I know, again, it's not going to be popular, but I think this kid, and again, I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, but if his arm's gotten stronger, I think Teddy Bridgewater has every chance. I don't think it needs to be a two-quarterback system. I just think that's them hedging it so they don't put all the pressure on Teddy because they're not sure, because he's still working his way back from something really devastating. And I think part of it is them moving on and kind of the way things ended in the Vikings when they were all acting like they were behind him. I think that probably hurt him a little bit football-wise, and I think he's probably still working back through that. But anyway, I think Teddy Bridgewater with Sean Payton could actually they could be just fine. If his arm strength is stronger, because let's be real, Drew's arm isn't that strong anymore right now. It's a little bit stronger than Teddy's was a few years ago, but if Teddy's arm is a lot stronger, like I've been hearing all the players down there say, and people that have seen him post-injury and now down there, his arm's got not a little bit, a lot more zip. This kid had the intelligence. He knew how he made good, smart decisions. He was willing to do what the coaches asked him in running offense. If his arm's stronger, tell me the negatives, Dave, about this kid from what we've seen him from Packers when he was back in a Viking. I don't see negatives if that arm's stronger. I think he's got all the capability to do this thing.
The only thing I remember him having trouble with is he second-guessed himself a lot. Like, he would roll out and there'd be a route with open, but he just didn't know if he could get from that angle or say, like, the throwing position. I mean, he seemed to second-guess himself a lot. And, yeah, the thing is, I think he's a solid game manager. But you got to remember, this offense is built for Drew Brees. Teddy's not Drew Brees. It's